What's up YouTube? Have you wondered how to use the shape tools in Affinity Designer on the iPad version 2? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. Welcome back, my name is Ben Nielsen, I'm a media design educator, and today we're talking all about the shape tools in Affinity Designer version 2 on the iPad. Now the shape tools in Affinity Designer is really one place where it outshines a program like Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator has like 4 or 5 shapes that you can use, whereas Affinity Designer has an entire list, and they've got lots of different features. But that can be a little bit confusing, so I'm here to break it all down for you. Now remember, all of these tool videos are coming from my course, Intro to Affinity Designer version 2 on the iPad, How to Create a Logo. So if you're interested in learning a lot more about how to do this, make sure that you check out that course, which is linked in the description below, both on Skillshare and on Gumroad. Make sure that you stay tuned to the end of this video for a special offer. Now it's time to start using the tools that are available in Affinity Designer, and specifically we'll be looking at those tools that we'll use in our logo design project. Now the first and most important tool when building logos is going to be the shape tools. That's going to be found down on the left hand side, and you're looking for the thing that looks like a rectangle unless you've switched it to something else. If you've switched it to another one of these shapes, like let's say the pie, it will look like the pie. We're going to start with the rectangle though. Now there are a lot of shapes. As you can see here, when you tap on it, because there's that little chevron in the corner, it means there's extra things inside of that tool. So there's a bunch of different options. We're going to start with the rectangle because that's kind of the basic one, and it's the easiest one to learn some of the shortcuts with. And we're not going to talk about every single shape here, but we're going to do kind of a representative sample, and then I have the worksheet for you that will help you to practice the things that we learn in this video so that you can learn all of the ins and outs of working with shapes. Okay, so with the rectangle selected, we just need to click and drag out. We can do this with our finger, with the Apple Pencil, or with the cursor if we're going to use a mouse. Now for the shape tools, you're going to want to be able to use your modifier keys. So I'm actually going to move my modifier back over to the right hand side. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to retain its position in between documents and sessions, and so I have to move it around again because I'm left-handed. You can also use a keyboard to access these same keyboard shortcuts, and we'll talk about the gestures. When you want to draw out your shape, make sure your shape is selected, and then you're just going to click and drag. You can see that right now this is free ratio, so I can change it to be whatever kind of rectangle I want. Now if I hold one finger on the screen, that's going to constrain it to square proportions. So the width and the height will remain the same. I can also do this by using the modifier Shift. So that's fairly simple. When I want to actually draw it, I can let go of it with the pencil or my finger or the cursor. Now I'm going to hold Shift up so that it stays in proportion, and I'm just going to draw out the square. Now that is how the square is drawn. I'm just going to undo that with a 2-finger tap, and we're going to draw another square, and we're going to learn a few more modifier keys and shortcuts. As I click and drag out, I can use 2 fingers on the screen to go from the center. So wherever I started then becomes the center of the shape rather than the top left corner. This of course is unconstrained, so if I put 3 fingers on, it will go from the center and be constrained, which is pretty easy to do. The keyboard shortcuts or modifier for them are going to be to use the command key to go from the center. And if we do that and drag it out so that it stays on, then we can also use Shift to keep the proportion the same. So you're actually combining those things together. Let's go ahead and turn that off. If we put 4 fingers on the screen, we will be able to move our shape. So if we want to draw from a different location, hold 4 fingers on the screen and we can move it around. There is no modifier key shortcut for that, so you'll just have to use the finger gesture if you need to do that. Alright, then you can hold 5 fingers on the screen if you want to rotate the shape. You can also do this by going to Control, and that's the basics of it. So let's go ahead and I'll just hold down Shift on the keyboard to drag out a square, show you what that looks like. Now if I want to move this around, I can't stay on my shape tool because I'll drag out another shape. Undo that. I need to switch to the Move tool. I can do that by double tapping on the pencil or just clicking on the Move tool, or by hitting V on the keyboard. Okay, let's move that over. The next thing that I want to show you is the difference between the rectangle and the rounded rectangle. Under the shape, I can choose the rounded rectangle instead, and I can click and drag out a rounded rectangle. All the same keyboard shortcuts apply. So if I want to make it square, I can go like that. But one of the key things when the rounded rectangle is you get this little orange handle, which allows you to control the roundness of the shape. So these orange handles will appear on lots of different shapes, and each one shows that there's a property that can be modified. All of these properties will also appear in the context menu bar at the top. So you can see that from this context menu bar, I can select what kind of corners I want under round, and I can select the radius, which is what the orange handle is doing there. So that's the difference between the rectangle and the rounded rectangle. Now if I switch back to my move tool, I can select this, and then if I switch to the rounded rectangle tool, you can see that any shape tool can select any shape. I didn't have to go back to the rectangle tool to select the rectangle. Once I select it, I get the shape options again. You can see here I actually have a radius option, but I can't use it until I switch this to rounded. Once I do that, I can. So really the rounded rectangle tool and the rectangle tool are the same tool, just with different options selected. So it just makes it a little easier to get what you want right away. But if you make a mistake and choose the wrong one, you can normally get to what you need. All right, let's look at a little bit more complicated shapes here. So I want to show you how a couple of these work that have more things going on. So for example, let's choose the cog here. This cog will make like gears, and the same keyboard shortcuts apply. So if I want to keep the proportions, I can hold down Shift. But you can see there are a lot more little handles here going on. So there's a lot that you can do to change this, and this will dramatically change the way the shape looks. So each of these handles, you can see I can select this and watch what changes in the top so you know what's going on. You can see the inner radius here is changing. Then there's this option in the middle. Watch that, the whole radius changes there. There's also this option, which doesn't have a control in the top, but it changes how big the teeth are. This one changes how round the sides of the teeth are, and this one changes how much space there is in between the teeth. One thing we can't do with an orange handle, but we can do at the top, is change the number of teeth. So as I drag down, the number of teeth goes down. As I drag up, the number of teeth increases. Looks like 48 is the most that it can handle. And so you can see that by modifying these, you can actually get a significantly different style of shape. Now, just to show you a couple more of these and how they look, let's look at the double star, because this has a few things as well. Now you can see that it doesn't have as many handles. There's an inner radius, and there's a point radius. And the point radius only affects the secondary star. You can also see that the snapping gives you different points sometimes, and that this can dramatically change how the shape looks. We can also change the number of points here. And so if you're trying to get something specific, it's worth it to play around a little bit with the different handles that appear in your shape. Let's try one more here, and that will be the cloud. The cloud, you can see, has different number of bubbles. And so you can adjust that, and then you have an inner radius handle. You could actually make something that looks more like a flower than a cloud. So it's important not to get kind of stuck in the mindset that you have to do exactly what the shape is called or something like that, right? The cog doesn't have to be a gear or a cog. It could be something else. The cloud could be a flower. The star could be a sunburst or something else. So there's a lot of variation with what you can actually create. And some shapes can create things that look very similar. So for example, I can really make this gear be a lot more pointed, and it can start to look more like a star. And so you can get different effects depending on how you control these values. And most of these shapes have different values that you can control. So I encourage you to play around with them. Again, I've provided a sheet for you. If you pull out the shape that's listed and then try to get it to match the shape that I've drawn, that will really help you in being able to just work through how some of these handles work, kind of get you on-ramped onto how shapes are going to function for you. Okay, I hope you enjoyed learning more about the shape tools in Affinity Designer version 2 on the iPad. I know there's a lot there, so you want to make sure that you practice it. Now, you may have heard me mention the practice sheet. You can get that for free from Gumroad by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, you can also take this full course on Skillshare or Gumroad by clicking the links in the description. If you choose to take it on Gumroad, that's a single purchase instead of a subscription, and you can use the code YT15 to get it for just $15.
colors. We'll chat in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.